Welcome back. We'd been waiting for this one. The Trump administration sent Congress its request to claw back more than $9 billion in approved spending yesterday. This so-called rescissions package would be the first to codify the cuts spearheaded by the Department of Government Efficiency, once championed by Elon Musk. The package includes more than $8 billion in cuts to foreign aid and more than $1 billion in cuts to NPR and PBS. It also slashes funding to education and transportation programs, reproductive health, and the World Health Organization, along with millions in cuts for UNICEF and the U.S. President's Emergency Plan for AIDS Relief, also known as PEPFAR. Joining us now, Democratic Congressman Joe Morelle of New York. He's the ranking member of the Committee on House Administration. So, Congressman, I want to start with you there. What is the reaction to this rescissions package? We knew it was coming, but seeing it in paper form is different. And even some Republicans are voicing concerns at this point.
Well, they should rightfully voice concerns. I mean, many of these things are investments that we make in people, in education. You know, we want to be the leader in the world in science, technology, innovation, but you can't do it if you're not prepared to invest in people. And you see some of the rescissions that they've asked for. What I'm hopeful is that before we vote on this, that Republicans actually read the bill. We're finding that many of them have voted for the big, beautiful bill, so-called, and are now saying that they didn't read provisions of it. So hopefully they'll have an appreciation for how bad this is. And frankly, this is supposed to have been the $1 trillion that DOJ was going to save. It's down to $9 billion. You know, I may not be great at math, but $9 billion is not $1 trillion.
Even I, and I can guarantee I'm worse at math than most people, know that that is not the same amount of money. But it also comes during appropriations season on the Hill, because, of course, Congress has the power of the purse. You are on that House Appropriations Committee. And this is why we're seeing multiple secretaries come before Congress to basically justify their future spending. You're going to have Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick before you today. So talk about what that conversation is likely to sound like from lawmakers who are going to have to approve future budgeting requests against the backdrop of an administration that doesn't want to respect the money that's already been sent out the door.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be a fascinating conversation. I think there are the things that typify the Trump administration so far are chaos, confusion, and frankly, corruption. And I think he's going to have to answer questions from appropriators and others about what is happening. And frankly, the fact that we make commitments to tariffs, then pull them back, and make more commitments and pull them back, I think it's really caused difficulty in the capital markets. I think it's difficult for people who are running businesses to make decisions, whether you're a large business or a small one, about what to do and how to make decisions and how to plan. I mean, the predictability is so important in business, and that's something that is clearly not the case here under this administration.
Yeah, unpredictability has certainly become a feature, not a bug, at least in trade and tariff policy for this administration. So it'll be interesting to hear the way that Lutnick actually talks about that as someone who has sometimes been seen as a bellwether for how the president is feeling about the tariff war. So I think that'll be interesting. But if you can come back to the appropriations matter, do you talk to other Republicans on that committee who have concerns about basically being steamrolled? I mean, this is one of Congress's key powers, figuring out how federal monies are spent and appropriated.
It's really interesting. I mean, most Americans wouldn't know this and wouldn't expect them to. But we're holding hearings on appropriations when we don't even have a request from the president for a budget. So we're apparently going to hear details of what the president's request is after all these hearings have been held. So it'll be interesting for him to defend dollar amounts being spent on the Commerce Department, where he runs, when Congress doesn't even know what the request is going to be. So, you know, chaos is the word here over the last couple of months in the Trump administration. I expect that will continue. Look, he's got an unenviable job. He has to come and defend an administration that, as I said, is in chaos, and somehow try to take disparate data points and turn them into a pattern and a theory of governance that I frankly don't think exists. I think they wake up in the morning, the president says one thing, he may say something 180 degrees away from that the following day, and they have to follow along. And I think Republicans in Congress have got to wake up. I think looking at the comments from a number of members who didn't know what was in the big, beautiful bill.
Yes.
I hope they know what's in the appropriation bills when it comes time for us to consider them over the next several weeks.
Yeah, this is the issue, and we've seen this time and again with long bills that get passed on very short timelines. Democratic Congressman Joe Morelle of New York, I will wave to your district in our mutual home state. Thank you for coming on with us.
Thank you, Allie.